Welcome to Everything You Need to Know. And as you can see today, we are chatting cucumbers. So we know cucumbers to be this very mild tasting vegetable that's very easy to add to dishes. And like lots of other fruits and vegetables, it has many health benefits that we are going to talk about today. Cucumbers are a member of the Curbitaceae family, which is a part of that bigger gourd family. Other members in this family include other squashes. So why eat cucumbers? What does it do for us besides that nice crunch when you bite into it? Well, we do know that they're very full of water. So their number one is they are big on hydration. So in the summer months when we're really hot and we're doing a lot of sweating, cucumbers are really good to give us that extra bit of water, but also they have the electrolytes that help to keep our sweat in balance. And we need those electrolytes to help our body to stay functioning well. So those include our sodium, our potassium, and our chloride. Cucumbers are pretty low in sodium, but the potassium level is quite high, which is really, really beneficial. And for people who don't enjoy drinking just straight water, adding some cucumber with some sort of a mint to your water is very, very refreshing. The second health benefit is that cucumbers are very high in vitamin K. About 1 cup of cucumber has just over 10% of the vitamin K that we need in a day. And vitamin K is our blood thinning vitamin. We want our heart not to work any harder than it has to, so we don't want it to have to pump thicker blood, thicker because maybe there's more sugar in it than it should be, or more blood fats than it should be. So vitamin K is going to help to thin that all down. Number 3 is that cucumbers have a phytonutrient in them, like all other vegetables have their own, that helps to prevent those chronic diseases. So this phytonutrient is one of those bitter tasting ones, and it's called cucurbitaceae. So that phytonutrient helps, in some studies they're showing, to prevent certain types of cancers. As far as chronic diseases go, we know that vegetables are really good at fighting different chronic diseases, and this one is our heart health, so preventing those heart attacks or strokes, as well as diabetes prevention. And how it does this goes back to that water content. So it's high in water and it's low in calories and fat and all of those things, but it's high in electrolytes. So it's the potassium in there that helps to keep our heart going and working strong. And it's that balance of potassium, sodium, and chloride that help to keep our cells moving its nutrients in and out of them really well. Because there's not much sodium in those cucumbers, it is also really good at preventing hypertension because we're eating them, we're getting fiber, we're getting more water, and we're getting low sodium. All vegetables are also low in sodium. So inflammation is that root cause of chronic diseases. When our gut is inflamed because we're eating things that don't agree with us or we're eating unhealthy foods, then that is kind of the foundation for getting all these other chronic diseases. So cucumbers actually help to fight inflammation in the body because of that phytonutrient, that curbitacin. So that's pretty awesome. Lastly, a kind of a fun one to do with how healthy these are for our body is skincare. You've probably all seen these cucumber slices laying on our eyes and our face. Super fun, but it actually has some validity to it. Cucumbers are cooling. They're a cooling vegetable. So if you get a sunburn and you have an extra cucumber, slice that up and throw it on your sunburn. It's going to help to cool it. Pretty fun. So this is just one more example of why incorporating vegetables into half your plate helps you to live the best you for as long as you can. So So why would we eat them? What's the nutritional content of them? So in about a cup of a cucumber, so about a cup is the size of your fist, there's about 1/3 of a cup of water. So that's pretty amazing. There's very little calories. Remember, we don't really talk calories, but it's nice to know that there's very little calories, pretty much zero fat, very little protein, and about 1 gram of fiber, which is about 4% of what you need in a day. So not a ton, but a good little bit. There's 3 grams of carbs, so very, very small. It's like eating a bite of a toast. But there's a lot of minerals in these cucumbers. We have calcium, we have iron, we have magnesium, we have phosphorus, we have that potassium, we have vitamin C, folate, which is really neat, beta carotene, like I don't see any red in there like in tomatoes, but there's a little beta carotene in there, and that vitamin K we talked about. Add the phytonutrients to it and it makes it a very amazing vegetable. There's lutein in there, the zeaxanthin, and then we also have what we mentioned earlier, that curbitacin. So you see all of these types of cucumbers, and I'm going to invite Marianne in here because she has a wealth of knowledge around these different types of cucumbers. So here we are, Marianne. She's going to show us and walk us through all the kinds that we have here in front of us.
We have a range of cucumbers. As you see, these ones are all green, which most people are familiar with for cucumbers, but they do come in other colors. We have grown them in our garden in a pale green color that's almost a white color, and we've grown yellow ones as well that were meant to be yellow. This one we have this year is an English cucumber from Roland's greenhouse. This is an English cucumber from the store, so they're obviously slightly different varieties, but you can eat the skin on them. This one is a field cucumber from the store. They're all wet because they came out of the fridge. This is a field cucumber from the store, and you don't typically eat the skin on these because it's tougher. You can eat the skin, it's not going to hurt you, but most people typically skin those. And then this is another one from our garden this year, which is a mini or a patio cucumber, and you can see it's very smooth skinned on it, and that's about the size it grows to. This is an unusual cucumber from Turtle Island, Wild on Turtle Island. It's a rare and organic plant farm outside of Forest. It actually should be larger than this and turns yellow when it's ripe, but it was picked a little early. And this is a pickling cucumber. Now, quite often you see them about this size in the store, but this size is fine for cucumbers too. It depends on what you want to do with it. You can slice these and use them for bread and butter pickles, or you can pick them at this size when they're small and use them as whole baby dill pickles if you want. These are the mini English cucumbers that they have in the store regularly nowadays. They're just an immature version of the big one. And any cucumber you can pick at any size. The bigger it gets, the bigger the seeds get, and the tougher the seeds get. And you might not enjoy eating them, so you might want to just scoop the center part out with the seeds and just eat the circumference around the outside. And my niece kindly gave me some cucumber bloopers to show. So this one that I just showed you the end on actually looks like this in true form. So when they don't get consistent watering or major dumps of rain and then a really hot week and then a major dump of rain, you'll get them growing curved and you'll get them skinny and then getting bigger at the ends as well. This is another inconsistent watering. It just, it started tiny and then it got a bunch more water and it got big. Nothing wrong with it, just cut the end off there. You could eat it, but it's probably a little bit on the bitter side. And this one is overripe, so we missed that one when we picked them last week, and it turns a yellowish color. Again, nothing wrong with it. You can eat it. You might have more of a tendency to pick the skin off, peel the skin off because it does get tough. But when a cucumber plant forms a ripened fruit like this, that means the seeds in it are viable, and its whole mission in life, a cucumber and a bean and a pea, is to produce viable offspring. And if it produces one cucumber that's viable, according to gardening experts, then that cucumber figures it's done its job and it's not going to worry about producing more cucumbers. So it's important to pick them young if you have to, but it's better than picking them too mature, because then that will end your production for the year. Cucumbers come in all different sizes. There's ones that originate in South America that we can get now that are round. There was an Armenian cucumber that we grew last year that was this size but a different color. There's ones that look like pickling cucumbers, but they're white or an off-white color. I imagine the vitamins will change slightly when the color of the skin is different, but most of what Erin told you is going to be accurate. There are little prickles. You can see these little spots on it, but they aren't sharp. They're just little uncomfortable bumps on some of the varieties of cucumbers. Just rub those off. It's more pleasant than eating them. But if you do eat them, they won't hurt you.
And then you told me about a yellow cucumber.
Yeah, we have grown in our garden in the past. We have them growing now. They aren't ripe yet because we planted them later. A lemon cucumber, which is the size and shape and color of a lemon, but it's a cucumber. And they're also related to melons, and there are melons you can buy at the grocery store that taste like cucumbers. And if you thought you were crazy tasting a melon and thought it tastes like a cucumber, they're related. It makes sense that they do taste that way. So that's all I have to share at the moment. But anybody has any gardening questions, add it to your chat and we'll talk about that in class.
Is how to choose cucumbers if you're growing them or getting them in the grocery store, because at home, if you're picking them, you can pick them at any stage, like Marianne said. The key, however, is to always eat the skin. That's where the bulk of that nutrition comes from. With those field ones, if you peel some of it off but leave some small little strips of skin, you'll still be getting some of that nutritional value in there. So sometimes in the grocery store, especially with the English cucumbers, instead of in plastic, sometimes they're spraying them with an edible wax. Don't remove that edible wax until you go to eat it, then wash it really good, and then that wax will come off. You can eat it, but it changes a little bit of that texture in your mouth. So you definitely want to choose the crisp. So this end, you can kind of see it wobble, so that's a little bit older. So if that wrinkle was all through the cucumber, that's not going to be a crisp cucumber. You want to choose a crisp cucumber and it's firm. When you feel it, it's nice and firm. Up here, it's squishy, so you're just gonna wanna cut that end off. But the firm cucumbers are better. So you'll just want to make sure that you're getting the cucumbers that are firm. You can feel them in the grocery store and just make sure they're firm and not wrinkly, not shriveled, and not withered on the ends. And that's going to mean that you can keep that in your fridge for that good week and not have it get more shriveled. That just means it's getting older, it's losing most of its nutrition, so you want to have it in its prime when it's nice and firm. So what do we do with cucumbers besides just eating them raw? Of course, you can add them to that typical Greek salad where you have feta cheese and olives and tomatoes. That's your true Greek salad. You can, like we said before, add them with mint to water to jazz that water up a little bit. You can slice them and then dip them in your favorite dips like hummus. You can blend them with other vegetables like carrots and celery and make a juice, because that's going to be nice and refreshing with that cucumber in there. Another recommendation online, and I've never done this, but you can make gazpacho soup by blending tomatoes, pimentos, garlic, onions, cucumbers, and breadcrumbs, and then they chill it, and then it's a cold soup for the summer. And the last recommendation was to mix cucumbers with garlic and mint and Greek yogurt, because that's a cooling dip to go along with a hot curry. So lots of different ways you can eat a cucumber. They are best, especially the small ones. You know, you can chop off the ends and just eat a whole one right at lunchtime. It's a great addition to any sandwich or salad. So there you have it, folks, everything you need to know about cucumbers.